Happy Tuesday, Sharon. Thank you. I went to switch over and start booting up stream, and I noticed I had 101. Now, if YouTube goes anything like Instagram does, I don't anticipate holding on to the 100 subs. It seems like whatever I do, I go backwards on Instagram, but yeah, so that was a nice surprise. Let's save here, because I forgot to save this. I don't even know what I'm going to draw today, but 3597 it looks like. 3597. I'm just going to do the good old sketching. Because why should we be specific when we can be vague and cause frustration for later stage Christy? I've actually done several of these sketching ones that I don't remember what they are, and then they turn out to be a big one that I have to reprint and make prints out of and all that good stuff. I kind of want to make a vertical one so I can do a nice background out of it. Maybe let's attach a little bit of importance to this. Maybe it'll be part of digital downloads, because I didn't get those done, but I want to get those done. But yeah, SDCC was it was pretty wonderful. It started out kind of crazy in that, you know, with the whole sign debacle. I think I'm gonna have to close my window, even though I want the light. I don't want the heat. Let me just do that. I love my window, but I don't love the heat it lets in, because it's like, I think that's literally the glass this house was built with, so it's not double paned. It does not keep the heat regulated. It lets everything out and everything in. So it's cold in the winter and hot in the summer in here, but that's why I have fans and heaters. So yeah, it started out really, I mean, I had like all my ducks in a row. I had all of my product. Momo had even gotten here completely. All of her shipment had gotten here early. And Sunday, we went to start packing the van, and we were looking at leaving Sunday night. Well, I got sent back up after bringing down a load to the van, go get signs. And I get back up to the storage unit, and there are no signs. And this is like a 5 foot wide, actually more than 5 feet, because we had fashioned this cardboard sleeve for it, all of the signs, so they fit inside of it. And then Happy had a little cap that protected his, you know, some of parts of him. So it was this giant 5 foot by almost 5 foot square that was probably about 3 inches deep. Very hard to miss. And it just was gone. And it turns out that about a month previous, I think it was like May or June, I think it was, I went back up there to do inventory, and it was sitting out just kind of leaning up against the shelves, because it's a huge piece. It's hard to, you know, find a home for it. I took it out, put it outside, and did inventory, closed everything up and left, and I did not bring it back in because, you know, me being so smart, I wanted to put it someplace where it wouldn't get, you know, kicked or knocked over or crushed by the things I was taking out. And I forgot to put it back. And it turns out that we got a hold of the property management there, and they're like, yeah, we know what you're talking about. We found it. We held on to it for a while, and then when nobody came to claim it, it went in the bin. So yeah, that was how that happened. It was all my fault, and But yeah, so Sunday, that threw a massive wrench into plans because I stopped packing and started desperately calling every printer that I knew, including the ones locally. I was like, hey, is there any chance that you could like print these tonight? No. And or rather today it was, because we were earlier in the day and we were leaving like later that night. And so I started calling printers in San Diego. All the printers in San Diego were swamped with emergency print jobs. And so I had started, talking to this one of them. And as it was Sunday, most all of them are closed. And so I ended up talking to an AI chatbot. And I got really frustrated because the chatbot kept insisting that she was a human. And I was like, you are not a human. I want to talk to a human. I need to speak to a person. And eventually I got, she admitted that she was not in fact human, and said, can I get your information and have someone call you from the art department at the earliest available time. And I was like, nope. And I hung up. I mean, if I had a physical phone, it would have been a psh, an old-fashioned 90s slam that receiver down. And about, I'd say 30 minutes later, I get a call back from San Diego, and I'm like, oh God, this is the people that I just hung up on with the chatbot. I decided to answer it anyway, and the guy was like, yeah, I listened to I read the transcript from the AI bot, and I figured I should give you a call back. So that was the first company I dealt with, and I left him a Google review, and I left the eventual one that I actually did work with a Google review, but they worked so hard trying to get, a solution for me, but their pricing just was not feasible. They wanted to reprint those signs, route them, and get them done on Coroplast. It was going to be like $1,700. And I couldn't do it. And then I was like, okay, well, maybe I can go to Home Depot and I can get some foam core and I can mount a paper print. I can basically do half the work myself via Home Depot and adhesive. And even what would amount to be probably about 12 feet of printing on paper was $500. And I'm just like, dude, I was working in a print shop, like, yes, it was over 10 years ago, but a whole roll of that paper does not cost that much. And so I didn't end up going with them because of that, but it turned out that another company, so usually when I'm going out to San Diego, I do a pit stop with my sister in Phoenix and stay there overnight, and then it's like a 6-hour really nice leisurely drive into San Diego. I've got to adjust my fan. It's like blowing right in my eyes and I can't see anyone. Adjusted it up too. I think I have. But yeah, so no fault. I mean, that's just what, that's their cost. That's what they could put together. And I just, I told the dude, it's like, I'm sorry, I can't go with you. But I'm going to leave you an awesome Google review because you really went out of your way to help and provide me multiple options and really try and make this incredible mess up, have a happy ending. And so it turns out that there was another company that I got in contact with that was in Phoenix, and they were able to turn it around and do it on foam core, and I would be able to pick it up the morning I leave. And I was sending them the files for that night before. I mean, I think I was rolling in on Monday and sending them the files on Monday. They had it printed, mounted, and ready to go by the time I rolled out of Phoenix on Tuesday morning. And it just, the office of this place, it was in one of those, Catherine, hello! Thank you so much. it was exciting to log on and see 100 subs. 101 actually. But so I rolled up to it, and it's a office park, you know, kind of one of those tilt wall, massive office, like warehouse type deals. We have a lot of them here, and there are a lot of them in Phoenix. So on the outside, it looks like they have 3 doors, but apparently they have many, many more doors, and these things are gigantic. It's like Mary Poppins carpet bag inside. It's just bigger and bigger, and apparently they fabricate complete, like they have the floor space and height to fabricate 20, 40-foot booths, trade show booths, and they can actually go up too. And but they also have a router, multiple large format printers, bigger than any of them that I've ever seen. I mean, I swear, I don't think these were the usual 10-foot. I think these were larger. But they had like 4 of those lined up in one of the workrooms that I saw. But anyway, super great. They got them put together, and then all I had to do was put the little foot on the back that holds it upright. And I just went to Home Depot and got foam core, sliced it, and used like the Gorilla duct tape on the back, and it worked perfectly. But yeah, so that's how that story ended. Happily, but it was nerve-wracking to say the least. And but that got me up to, I put Visine in my eyes and now I can't see. So that got me up to actually being at San Diego, and unpacking went well. Everything else went great, except for probably I did not manage the boxes going to the booth very well at all. I brought far too many. Most of them should have gone to the hotel, and that put us at Wednesday afternoon. We got into the convention center early. Hey Clint, welcome. Happy Tuesday to you too. I need to actually draw something here. Let me think. I don't want to do a forest scene. And I'm gonna do Momo here, and maybe Coco here. So yeah, what happens is usually we get unloaded on Tuesday. We set up about halfway. We get the main structure, kind of the skeleton of the booth set up, which is the shelves. We got that done, and Wednesday we come in and do everything else. And we did that. We had everything put together, and on Tuesday, and then Wednesday we did the sign dance at Home Depot to get the backing for it. And but I think we were a little too precious with how much time we took to make the signs and the stands, and also the electrical organization and stuff. That took way too much time, and that put us behind because we didn't like get ready or anything for the show for preview night, because we're like, we'll totally be done by like 2 or 3, and we can come back to the hotel, shower, get pretty, and come back for the opening at 5. That didn't happen. It started getting close to 2, and we were like, oh god, maybe 3, maybe. And yeah, by the time 4 o'clock rolled around, we were like, okay, so 4:15 we're gonna pile our wagon high with all the stuff that we cannot fit in the booth, which ended up being about 3 boxes. Well, no, it was more than that. It was 2 bumblebees, storage boxes, and what amounted to 3 duffel bags, which I think was at least 3 boxes of plush. So we stuffed the plush from the box, because I couldn't carry boxes, but I could load myself up with duffel bags. So I got loaded up with, I think, 3 duffel bags full of plush. We loaded up the wagon, which was taller than us, with 2 bumblebees and some boxes and a TV box, wrapped it with saran wrap, the shrink wrap. And then at about 4:15, we hauled ass from the convention center. I'm loaded down with at least 3 duffels. I've got one on each side, and then I've got another one on my back like a turtle. And I'm the guard for the big wagon, which Kendra has, and she's controlling that, and I'm making sure it doesn't tip, which of course it did almost twice. And we're hauling ass back to the hotel to get rid of that and then get back to the convention center before it opens in 45 minutes. And we did make it back with about 5 minutes late. So we were walking in at about 5:05, and blissfully and gracefully they opened late. So we actually didn't open the floor to people until about, I think it was every bit of 5:45, if not 6. So we had some actual time to finish what we had started. And we got put together most of the way, but it was still a mess behind the booth. No place to walk, and but outwardly it looked put together. But if you looked behind the booth, it was like maybe a tiny little area to walk. We had pins everywhere, we had boxes everywhere, we had plush everywhere. But it turned out good, and we eventually got the hang of it and got all of the signage up. We got all of the pins put out, and preview night was just insane, and Thursday was insane as far as foot traffic, the new position on the floor, and just the amount of people we were seeing, because where we were previously, I was stuck kind of facing the back of the hall in the middle of the hall, and it was really very hard to find. I've always been hard to find in that hall because I've kind of always been on the back wall, facing the back wall. And this year I got moved to one of the kind of like closer to hall, kind of between hall A and B, and middle of the hall is more like D-ish. Did you get to visit Hobbit Scale Prancing Pony? Yes, I did, and I actually thought I have a story about that too, which I'll get to in a minute. But the new position on the floor has me facing forward, and while we were setting up, this was just so random. Another dealer that we used to deal by, I don't think he even recognized us, but we were by him for years. He stopped by and he introduced himself, and he was like kind of hunting for another table for his booth, and we were like, well, we're trying to figure out which way we want to orient this, and we'll let you know in about 10 minutes, because we were in the process of putting the carpet down. And so he comes back, and we're like, yeah, we're not sure. And he's like, well, what's your what's it looks like you're trying to figure something out. Can I help you? I'm really good at this convention stuff. And we're like, oh, okay. And but then he made just, I don't know how we couldn't see it, but he was like, okay guys, I think let me just do this. And he took the table and he positioned it kind of completely opposite that we'd be facing. Like, this is the booth, this is a main aisleway, this is a side aisleway. Right now we had the table like this, and everything was facing out like this. And he's like, okay guys, just bear with me here. He picks up the table, he moves it like this, and he's like, this is the way you need to be facing. People will be coming at you like this, and you want them to see you immediately. And the more we thought about it, and then he was just like, just think about it. And by the way, I don't need the table. Wish you guys all the greatest luck. I just wanted to check on you. And so the more we thought about it, we were like, God damn it, he's right. But what we had done so far was set up the entire booth oriented in the opposite direction. It was, let me draw that again. So here's the back wall. Table is like this. This is all plush. And then this was books. Yeah. And then here was the pin board, which is kind of protected by a table and stuff like that. And this was kind of an open bin set. And here's the TV up here. Here are all the signs. And so we were just like, yeah, he's right. This needs to happen. So this was with about, probably about an hour-ish or more, maybe an hour and a half before we really needed to start running and get stuff back at the hotel and then come back to open the booth. And so what happened was we had to reorganize all of these shelves, take those off, put most of the plush. We took 2 plush bins, I think, and put it over here. We put the books over here. We put this other bin over here, changed up all those shelves, moved all the storage bins from down here to over here, which had all the shirts in them. And yeah, so that was part of why we were so late setting up, was that last minute, I just call it a divine intervention, because I truly believe that change is what helped people see the booth and it be as successful as it was. So yeah, there's that. And but yeah, that happened the very first day, preview night, and set us up for the rest of the weekend to go really, really, really well. And but yeah, no, getting back to Prancing Pony, I had heard that well, I know I've told this story before, but many years ago, Richard Taylor, who's the CEO of Weta, basically responsible for all of the visual effects in the Lord of the Rings and Hobbits and stuff like that, he happened upon the booth and got a t-shirt and a bag for his little daughter, who was probably, like about that at that time. And the next year, I mean, it was, I didn't know who he was at the time, but I had a friend at the booth and she was like, I think that's Richard Taylor. I'm like, who's that? And he's like, well, he's Weta Workshop. Does all the special effects for the Lord of the Rings and stuff like that. And I was like, holy cow. And so, we, talked to him, and it was really just, I was walking on cloud 9 because he was really enchanted by the booth and the characters. And he took the shirt home and the bag home to his daughter, and then fast forward the next year, he comes back with a mission slip from his wife that he has to get more, because little Amelia fell in love with Momochi, and she wore this shirt. It was like the shirt that she wore for like an entire summer, and she was pretty much obsessed with Momo. And so that started what every year, Weta would come, and eventually Amelia herself came, and there was one year that she did like a bake sale to save up money to come and spend it at Comic-Con, and one of those booths was mine, and that was one of the first places she went. So every year I try and see if he's going to be there, if she's going to be there, and kind of try to say hello and do that. And I found out that last year Weta wasn't there, and this year they were, and they had their big Weta booth, and they also had the Prancing Pony. And I thought it was just the Prancing Pony because I glanced at the map and saw Weta, and it was about in the same area. And so I kept on going down to the Prancing Pony asking if Richard was going to show up, and it was not staffed by New Zealanders, and so they were like, yeah, what the hell are you, this crazy girl just, they kind of treated me like I was crazy, but I don't blame them. Eventually I figured out that Weta had a formidable Weta Workshop booth with all the figures, and that's where they were doing signings, and he was talking. And eventually I got down there, and I made friends with one of the booth people there, and he said, hey, look, I don't know when he's going to be here. It's going to be like 9:30, 10:30 or whatever. And so I was kind of hanging around, and eventually he said, look, I got his business card, and he just said, text me, and we'll see if it's, I'll let you know when it's a good time. And so I did that, and I checked in probably a couple hours later, and he was there. And so I rushed down with my books and my floof, and I was able to chat with him for a bit. And then he came back by, and he brought, actually I've got an email, one of the guys at Kotobukiya, which is It's the toy maker out of Japan. He brought them by the booth, but he came back actually all the way down to my side of the hall and visited the booth and was just super wonderful. But that was really cool. And but yeah, that happened Saturday. And funny enough, they really liked my challenge coins. And I think they never thought of using, doing enamel on one side of them. And so I think they're going to start doing challenge coins for What a Workshop projects and giving them out to the people that, that work with them on certain projects as kind of a commemorative deal. And so that kind of inspires that. So it's really kind of cool. But yeah, so that was the What a Workshop story for this year. It just really was a tremendous year. I couldn't get out of the booth very much. I did walk around a little bit, but it was mostly in my area. And I'm just going to start this over here. I did get a another thing about Weta. Turns out, I initially knew Amelia when she was like down here, like she was 9 or somewhere around there. Now she's 19 and she's about as tall as he is, which is not short. And it's just kind of crazy. But yeah, she's like 19, but he told me she took her Momochi to her new flat, and still is very much a fan and loves the comics. So yeah, I thought that was super cool. That was really, really neat. And I saw many other longtime fans and readers, young and old, and that's really the best part of the convention for me, is that just coming back with a heart so full. And I just need to select same appearance on this. There we go. Now I'm going to group that, and now I can group everything else. Whoops. And I had, this was tremendous too. I had all of my original art. I had fully restocked and kind of redone my original art portfolio, and I brought most of my Inktovers from that previous year, and I sold a ton of original art, and it was just really, I mean, there was one sale that I speechless is an understatement on it. This one person bought like, I think 9 pieces, and I was kind of, after the third piece, I was kind of stunned, and just kind of, the ending of that story is interesting too, because there was one particular one, it was the cast on the side of the hill that didn't have any background to it. And I don't have a picture of that readily available. Actually, I do, because I put it in the scans folder. Let me see if I can bring that up. Let me see. Where did you put it, Christy? Probably in art book files and maybe scans, if I had to guess. Yeah, 2025. Okay, so it's this one. And let's see if I can rotate this guy. Alright. So it was this one. And no sky behind him. This was the scan I made right before I left. And he was like, I would like to get this one too, but I want to challenge you, because I think that, and kind of semi-commission you, because I think that this is missing something. And he requested some sky work. And so I was like, okay, I can do that. only problem was I did not bring any of my Copic markers. I just bought stuff to sign and sketch in books, which are my, usual ink markers and like the Mangaka ones. And so that started a mission of going around to the art booths and seeing who had Ohuhus or Copics. And very few had Ohuhus. I don't think any of them did. And only one, the Blick Art Materials booth, had some Copics, but they didn't have a lot with them. But they said, if you tell us what you want today, we can have it for you tomorrow morning. So I was like, okay. And so I ordered 2 sets that were just like, it was like, I think I still have them out. A second. Love these sets, by the way. So I got, because they were like, well, if it's on the website, we might have it, we might not. So I was like, okay, plan A is I want this set, which is Sea and Sky. And as a backup, I'll do the floral set because I have some of those colors in it already. It's got some purples and yellows. I can make it work. But I won't know until the next morning. And then if they have nothing, I can use the portrait set of warm tones as a plan C, I guess it was. So it was plan A, plan B, plan C, which I knew they had right there in front. And so, but it turns out they had both of these. So I got both of these. And then Friday night, I think it was Friday night that I got it. I spent actually filling in the sky on that original, and I have a picture of that and I can show you. It turned out incredible. Truly surprised that I could pull off what I wanted to do. Where are you? That's the sunset. Where's the picture? There it is. So this is what I ended up doing. I think you can kind of see, it's gonna go, you kind of see if I tip it down, the cumulus clouds and the texture of them. And I was able to get a nice gradient down with the sky colors, and those textured clouds were something that I aimed really high and I was able to get pretty close. And I was really, really excited that I was able to do it. And that it looked right. And then the last thing I did was I added a little bit of an outline to the characters themselves to bring them out a little bit, and it really finished it. And I remember when I was, drawing this initially that I felt it wasn't done, but I didn't know what to do. So I guess it was meant to be. But yeah, that one was a sort of commission that I finished during the con. After frantically looking for Copics and learning my lesson that I should never leave my Copics at home. So that was my original art story. That was a very big surprise. And just, yeah, it was really cool. I sold a lot of those pieces, and I wasn't really expecting to, but there were other things I did for the booth, like signage and little scan QR codes. I had a QR code for, I had 2 of them actually. I had a direct Instagram QR code on the floof sign, which was very big, and I had a QR code to General Linktree, and which had everything on it, TikTok, Instagram, all that, and plus other stuff. And it was very interesting because what I did on that one this year, instead of having it on the top of the booth, I bumped it down to, because I had this kind of bin of the shelf that was in limbo. It didn't really have something assigned to it. It was right next to the books, and it was kind of just a general display space that was fluid, and it had been fluid in years past as well. But this year I decided to bump that floof with the QR code down, and I also used it to display the makeup bags and those on little hooks that I got from IKEA. It was really a brilliant deal, and it worked so well. And I also put the some of the QR code and the info things in that little space, and it worked really well. It was very, people noticed it, and I saw people actively scanning the QR code, and of course I had the corresponding follows on Instagram to match. So it was an interesting experiment in seeing how just changing the placement of that one thing really changed the degree of success of that kind of piece of marketing, that one little sign. And so that was super interesting, and part of the booth kind of learning experience that I had. I'm trying to think what else. That was really cool. We sold so many Momo cheats. I sold the most Momo cheats. I want to say I sold more Momo cheats than all plushies combined in previous conventions, including Cupcake Mo. Something about that strawberry. I mean, people would come from afar and just point to the strawberry and take her away. And they also really, really loved the star of the convention for the shirts was definitely Floof Around and Find Out. Oh my goodness, people loved that one. And I think I only brought back 5 or so pieces of that one. The leftovers will be leftovers. I hate saying that. I ideally want to do a full reprinting, but those will be going up on the website along with Momo Cheat once I get everything done. I did my inventory for books, and that's part of the project of things that need to go up on the website and get done immediately yesterday but aren't done yet. But yeah, the Moberry was just wildly successful, and it worked. I mean, people just flowed into the booth naturally, and I feel like the placement on the floor was such that a lot of the returning people I see each year found us far earlier than they do normally. Normally, I usually start seeing people like Thursday, Friday, but almost all of them were there on preview night. And, oh, you're in a new spot. We're, trying to find you. But yeah, so that was interesting too. I felt like we were much easier to find. And, see what else. Trying to think what else. Had a new van and it worked out really good. Ironically, it would cost the same amount to rent that van as it did the minivan. It's usually for the past many years we've stuffed the entirety of the booth into a minivan. And this year we were like, yeah, we can't do it, especially with all the plushies that we want to take. And we found Caps, their cargo van. they give you something like 2,800 miles when you rent it. And then the mileage above that is something like 35 cents a mile or so. And we calculated it out with the mileage and stuff, and it turned out to actually be cheaper than the minivan, even with the extra miles on there. And it was a Ford Transit 250, which is on a truck platform, and it was so much nicer going through those mountain passes with that big formidable truck. Even though the side is huge, it was a mid-rise, so it's a little bit taller than a normal van, and the wind would catch it. But like last year we were in the minivan and it was raining as we were going through those passes, and that was a nail biter. I mean, I was white knuckling it through the whole thing, and I wasn't even driving. And I mean, that rain was sheeting across the road, and it was no good. This year we didn't have that weather, but it felt so much more stable. I don't know if stable's the right word. It felt much safer going through those mountain passes with a vehicle that was a lot heavier and had a lot more power behind it. Because like that minivan, I'm sure we loaded it down because beyond the weight recommendation is we would bottom out pretty much on any small slope that we hit, and so it would really struggle going up hills and kind of changing elevations and doing it. You could hear that engine kind of clear its throat and say, "What the heck are you doing?" And you're sitting there wondering, like, okay, are we gonna make it? Are we really gonna make it? But it turned out okay, thankfully, with that minivan. And but yeah, the truck, much safer, much stronger, much more powerful, and we got through all those passes without a hiccup. And it was nice being high, seated really high up, because usually, everything is much higher than you. You've got all these trucks, you've got semi-trucks, you've got, all of these bigger SUVs and full-size SUVs. And it was so nice actually being above all that and having visibility, because it's just like a massive picture window. And even the sides are massive picture windows. So I feel like I got a lot of really pretty pictures and footage and stuff as we were driving. But yeah, no, the better vehicle and better weather was just truly, we got really lucky on a lot of things. And the weather was definitely one of them. I'm trying to think what else. On the way back, Packout was actually it was not a disaster like it had been years before. We pretty much pulled up to, it used to be that you could just drive up after they had cleared out the buses and the people. Around 7 o'clock, you could drive your car up onto the convention center kind of loading dock, that front drive, and take your stuff out. But in recent years, they've nixed that, and they have you go to kind of a staging lot, which is, I believe, part of the baseball field that's over there. It's like an overflow lot. So they stage you there to unload and also reload at the end. And they basically say, okay, you check in, you wait, and then they call you and you get to go up. Same way in and out. And last year it was really disorganized, and we didn't even get, I think we got out of there at somewhere around midnight or 1, or it was ridiculous. And we had to wait in that lot for hours. This year we got in and waited maybe 45 minutes. I had my iPad with me to draw because I was prepared to be waiting for a while, but We got there, one of our friends had gone to McDonald's, so we got our little Happy Meals and we ate, and by the time we were done with that, we had been called up to go and unpack, or repack rather. And so that went really, really well and really smoothly. I'm not sure what they did differently, but it kind of felt like overall the convention itself was a little bit less organized. But in that, I feel the actual execution, I have no faults to name on there. They did a really good job with unpacking and then closing the night when the convention was over. It really is. I haven't gotten a Happy Meal in years. I mean, I truly cannot remember the last time I got a Happy Meal before that. And I got I gave it to the floof. He had the Happy Meal with the apple slices, and then the other piece that we got was like a piece of the playset thing. It's like a big brick, and yeah, that wasn't too exciting, but the Happy Meal one was cool. But yeah, and the little itty bitty fry, I didn't know they have like a micro McDonald's fry carton that they put like 10 fries in, and it was so cute. Hey Richie, welcome. Saw this video on my feed with the 100 sub hype and I just wanted to come in and congrats. Oh, thank you so much. I will keep on keeping on. I will keep on floofing. But yeah, I saw that I had, when I was switching over to switching onto my account, I saw that I had passed 100. I think when I left, I had 96 or so. But yeah, so, and that something about the Happy Meal hits kind of differently after a very long day at a booth, packing up, and yeah, it really hit well. I guess I put this in a separate. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and ungroup here. Let's take what I need out of this. But yeah, so I hadn't had a Happy Meal in ages, and it was really nice. I might have to resize this food. See, what other stories do I feel like I have more stories than I'm remembering for Comic-Con. I feel like I've seen a lot of people complaining about like some studios not being there, but I feel like there were more studios there than in past years, and I definitely got a lot of corroboration on my feeling that the floor was far more packed with people than in years past. And granted, that could be my placement on the floor, but I was talking to people, because I have friends since I've been all over this hall. I kind of have people that are still in all different areas that I talk to. And, they were talking about towards Hall H on the other end, they were slammed with people too. So I don't have any complaints on how that convention felt as far as traffic, people, and people stopping to converse and buy and ask questions. And I had very few moments where I could stop in social media. And that was evident because I, late at night is when I would kind of have the chance to do some posting and stuff. But actually during the day, if I didn't do it right when we opened, then I wouldn't have a chance. And that is very different than previous years and previous positions in the hall. That position back in the back of the hall, I definitely had time to think around on social media and take videos and do promotion stuff. This year I did not, which is a fantastic problem to have, because it means people are in the booth and you're talking to people and they're seeing, the stories and the comics and the products. Let me see. I think I kind of need to do something magical in this. I need to do like maybe flutterbugs are going to be kind of just chilling on the water or doing something. I don't know. I need a reason for these guys to be enchanted over here. I'm going to make the water really glowy and flowy, maybe. Let me see. What else? I need to have Momochi over here. If I can start drawing her. Nickelodeon was back. I know that they were out on previous years. I don't know if Warner Brothers had a big presence, but I do know that Marvel was, I'm pretty sure they were on the floor. I didn't get that far over there. I was really, once I figured out that Weta had a different booth other than the Prancing Pony, I went further down the hall. And that's also where the art supply places were. But so I really only just stayed on one main aisle and cut through. Oh, that was another thing they had. They had, I believe this was an official San Diego Comic-Con booth, but maybe they just partnered with Lego, but they had a giant floor model, like inside and outside of the convention center. And so you would see like the convention center, Harbor Drive view. And then if you walk behind it into the booth itself, it opened up into the hall. And so they had all of these little Lego miniature booths and people crowding the halls. And it was an incredible Lego sculpture. And I'm sure it took hours and hours to build. But I believe that was some sort of an official booth, because they had a lot of SDCC like signage, and I didn't pay that closely attention, but I thought you could line up to buy official t-shirts and stuff around there, but it could have been just that for the Legos. But yeah, that was pretty darn cool. I'm trying to think of what other set pieces and... Oh, I suspected and hoped that the Pokemon booth would bring Pikachu, their giant Pikachu inflatable, but they instead brought a Pokeball, which is just as good, because it's a giant, Pokeball in the sky, probably at least was a 10-foot sphere, and it lit up. So that was a good landmark to give people. Just walk towards the giant Pokeball and you'll be in the area. Man, apparently their booth line was incredibly long. I didn't see what they were giving out though, because one year they gave out these beach ball inflatable super balls, master balls, and regular Pokeballs. And I remember the next year dealers were selling them for like $60 and $80 in their vendor booths, and I was just like, that's pretty uncool. Oh, Christina, welcome. I'm glad you like it. I'm sorry I'm taking so taking my sweet time with this one. Certainly, I've just been talking a lot. I did get one sculpture kind of souvenir piece. It was from this company called, I actually have their thing right here. It's called metalsouls.com. Souls, S-O-U-L-S. And what they do is they take, you probably can't see it, but they take scrap metal and turn it into like pop culture characters and animated characters. And I got a little Wally. He's right here actually on the card, but his little hands move. They're like screws, and then his chassis opens up to a hidden compartment. And it was between him and they had a giant number 5, but I was like, I didn't really want this giant, you know, metal piece. I just wanted something small, kind of that would be a desk deal. I love in the smaller version of their number 5. I didn't like his pose as much as the other one. The other one was kind of the classic number 5 with his arms up from the cover of the Short Circuit movie poster, or the original rather. It's where he's being struck by lightning or something, but yeah, because originally what brought me into the booth was seeing the Johnny 5, and I was like, is that really what I think it is? Because not a lot of people remember that movie, and he's kind of, I feel like he informed Wally's design and maybe his character a little bit. Hey Dee, welcome to the stream. How are you doing today? You're the best artist in the world. Aww. I don't know about that, but I try my best. And I always have more to learn. I feel like I'm not drawing them not big enough. But these guys are a little bit further back than she is, and since I'm trying to keep the sizing right and proportion right. Been drawing a bit, hanging in there. Oh, good. I'm glad to hear you're drawing. You know, something, that was another thing. I don't think I showed them. I have rough mock-ups of what I did at the booth for my signage, and I feel like that really helped a lot too. So here's my little 5x7 social media sign. And one thing I also did was I wanted people to, if they come in the booth, because one of the most frequent questions I get is, what is this? And so I did this little guy, and I replicated the volume 6 cover just in line art here on the bottom. And I just wanted to make it so that if you walked into the booth, you would immediately know what it is and immediately be brought into the world and kind of understand it. And I think it worked. I really think it worked. Maybe not just because of this sign, but adding up all the little bits and things that the video and the signage and all of the little bits and pieces. This was the menu I had. That worked out really well. And I also put free artist signing and sketches available at the bottom. And so I was sketching pretty much in every book that left the booth. And so a ton of sketching was done over the weekend. And I really enjoyed it. It really limbered up my hand. And so I think I'm going to be I really do want to make that a goal that I keep of, if not a large original, but maybe a medium-sized original piece every month. Because doing 50 pieces the last week right before I leave is just stupid, and I have better organization than that and control over my time. So we're going to actually execute it and get things done a little bit more ahead of schedule than they were this year rather. But I really love that, because I kind of settled into a pattern though, because I had 2 sketch options for volume 1. I kind of did the same thing for Pudge, because it was quick. I just drew a little mini Pudge in the Pudge book and signed it. For the other ones, it depended on which volume I was signing, because I kind of took the first page and expanded on the drawing on that. And I came up with a couple of fun ones, and people seemed to really enjoy them. So that was a fun part, but I kept on losing my pens. And they would drop down under the booth, they would drop down under the table between the boxes, and so I was kind of on the struggle bus for several of them because I didn't have the right marker pen. I think I'll give her a little flutterbug. I need to have some enchantment. Can you check out my art one day? Of course! I'm gonna go ahead and group this little guy. I really want to make this lighting magical. I'm just trying to figure out what color palette I want to use and how I want to go about it. Wherever I can, get rid of those really hard edges. Actually, maybe I'll bump this back just so that I can a little bit more fluff. You love to sing too? What's your favorite thing to sing? I do a lot of singing too. Pretty much, you know I'm happy if I'm singing, because I'll be jamming to something or other. Alright, I think it's time to get the... I'm not happy with this progression into the water. It's a little better. Let's just do some little bits and pieces coming out of the water. Rock and roll music? Awesome! That's excellent. Oh, you're giving the full belly. I gotta get a scratch. I gotta get a scratch of that belly. Alright, let's see here. What do I want to do here? I've got kinda... think I'm gonna have to do my flutter bugs. Just a few of them, because I can fill those in later. Maybe I'll have one or two just alighting on the water here. Oh, okay. I guess I'll group you all together. Go. This is going to all be a little bit pushed into the background. I'm going to have it on a different line art color. I just want it to be a sort of suggestion of a far source of this water coming down. I like to dance and making videos, making jokes. Yeah, dancing is one of my, I wouldn't call it a guilty pleasure, but it's definitely something I don't show. And I want to make sure nobody is in the room when I try to dance. But I love it. The exception to that would be when I actually learned a couple of dances and I danced in Happy Paper's costume. For whatever reason, I felt comfortable doing that, just dressed as a giant roll of toilet paper, and would not feel comfortable doing that as myself. But that's how things go then. It's really kind of funny how, did I say freeing? That playing that character in Happy's costume was. Because it was really almost, you know, if I step back and looked at the character of Happy, he's always happy to see everybody. And, you know, if I could sense that someone was around or they were talking to him, because I could really only see out of these two pieces of PVC pipe that were about right here. He sees everybody and is happy to meet everybody. So in a way, he's a little bit blind to, you know, he just knows that someone's there. And he reacts accordingly because he loves everybody. And, you know, out of that costume, it's a little bit harder, you know? Well, at least for me, because I'm more of an introvert. I'm not extroverted in that way that I can kind of go into a crowded room with people and just, you know, be at home and, you know, introduce myself. And I'm very much the wallflower. But putting on that costume and being the embodiment of this character that's really kind of the total opposite of that was just, it was interesting. And that I could do it. It was very interesting too. I couldn't speak in that costume either. I refused to. I only made happy sounds. which at the time that garnered the attention of, I guess, a Disney recruiter, because they came up and they asked, you know, what's your height, what's your build, here's my card, you can come be a character. Yeah, I don't live in California. That'd be kind of cool, but to be a Disney character, but ooh, I like that, but I don't like all of it. That's kind of, there we go. Oh, I'm getting into the trees again. Oh dear, here we go. Free time. Well, fall is coming. Always a good time to get lost in the trees. Yes, indeed. I feel like this guy needs a branch. This seems like a muscle arm, that he's got like a big buff bicep on a tiny twiggy body. Kind of funny. I think I probably need to move this up. It doesn't seem like it's balanced. Or else I need to move this out. Maybe make it a little thinner. I always want to try, and now I feel like this guy is a little bit... That'd be okay. Let's see, what else did I learn? I did slight changes to my displays. Instead of, well, this was one that actually went against my instincts, but I've seen it done this way in so many other booths. I decided to risk it for the biscuit, and I think it actually worked out. So typically when I display pins, I do each design in abundance, kind of like you're selling apples in a market. But I think with everything else on the table and in the booth, that added up to a lot of visual clutter and perhaps decision paralysis. And so what I did differently was I found this really cool cork board that had these two little wooden dowels that held it up. So imagine, like, this is probably at least a ½ inch thick cork. So it was, do I have a pin up here? No, I don't, because I used them as all displays. So it handles the standard pin backing perfectly so that the pin lays flush. So it's at least, I think, a 1/4 inch of cork, if not more, on top of this nice kind of, not balsa wood, but birch, that kind of lighter color. And so what I did there was I took one of each pin design and I arranged it so you could see all of the different pins in one place. And then I put a pin, enamel pin signage at the top. And I feel I need to go back and compare numbers of previous years, but I feel like I sold more pins because of that. Because people could see everything all at once and decide, I want this, this, and that. Or I want, you know, this one down here. And I also feel like I sold more designs that would typically get lost on a table, a far larger footprint of pin options. So that was interesting because I was worried about that because I'm effectively shrinking the amount of space I'm devoting to this. And in the past, the opposite has been true. When I expand the area devoted to showing the product, the sales increase. Like I did that in a similar way with the stickers and the prints. I expanded the space I devoted to them, and I had a little tiered deal just for the 4x6 sticker sheets, and those I sold out of several of them. They're almost out of all of my brand new ones. Definitely out of the sticker stamps. Those were the clear leader, and I'm kind of kicking myself because I was like, yeah, no one's going to want these sticker stamps. They all wanted the sticker stamps. And so I need to get those, you know, reprinted. But yeah, that was very interesting how it worked out for that. But I feel like part of that is because as far as conventions go, people have been trained certain ways to understand like these displays. Like if you go into certain parts of Comic-Con, there are pretty much exclusively pins, and how they do that is interesting too, because it's a combination of the two. Like they'll have walls where they have the pins on little hanging baggies and you just pull one off the wall. They also, kind of just like around the corner you turn, they have all of these cork boards and little kind of displays where it's just a single pin that's stuck in there, showing the entirety of all the selection that they have in one place. So that was interesting too. And I guess if you have a whole booth devoted to that, you can kind of separate and use both of those, you know, retail display tactics. But that worked out for the quite well, actually. Let me see, what else worked out well? What other big changes did I do besides the damn table, which way it was facing, which was yeah. Really, truly, I think that was divine intervention. Had a lot of divine intervention this con, I think. I think I'm gonna fill in this guy. Hotel went well. Breakfast was delicious. That was great. Start to the day. All of the food we brought worked out well too. So we brought a lot of bear bells. Those worked out really good. Good snack, especially since, you know, at times we couldn't leave the booth. What else did we have? I feel like I discovered a few things. Oh gosh, we went to Buc-ee's and discovered a few things that were just dangerous. The Luling Buc-ee's is the, I guess it's the biggest one in the world now. I don't know. They rebuilt it. That was the one that burned down, I believe, last year. They were in the process of building, or they had just opened up the new one, and the old building burned down. And now that where that old building was is now just parking lot. But yeah, Adventure Floof loves Buc-ee's. Definitely loves Buc-ee's. And but no, it's really neat to see, because it's just, I mean, I think, you know, Katie Buc-ee's is big. That one is just, if you've never been to a Buc-ee's, let me give you a picture of the bathrooms. That's kind of what they were built on, is they're, you know, the cleanest bathrooms you'll ever see. And the way this is set up is, I see this a lot in the Whole Foods parking lots in garages. They have those green light and red light to tell you if you're looking above cars, a line of cars, if there's an open space there or not. They have that for the bathrooms, and there are at least 40 stalls, at least, and they're all rooms. They're not stalls. And each of them has the grow light above it to tell you if it's occupied or not from when you're standing at the door. And in the middle of this bathroom is a giant bank of sinks. And yeah, so it's a massive, massive place. And that's just the bathroom. And it's built to handle a lot of traffic. Yeah, no, it is. It is really smart. And I looked at that. I had never seen that before, especially with the go lights. And because you have to walk around usually and see if the little vacant or, you know, occupied little sign is flipped. And it just, somebody sat there and observed what people were doing and said, hey, this is a great idea, because now you can see where to go, and that frees up traffic and it keeps things moving even faster. Aman, hi, may I ask how you find clients? Right now, it's mostly word of mouth and networking. I have, you know, friends that I've worked with before, or artist friends, and they have a job that they can't handle, or they don't have time for, and they refer it to me, or I have friends and family that have a need and they, you know, refer that way. Previous, I would get clients via, like in the early 2010s, I actually used Craigslist a lot. And I don't know if that's still a viable solution. I don't think it is, but that was how I got one of my most interesting clients, which I still have, in building custom extreme tree houses, which has since become custom golf courses and mini golf, adventure golf designs, course designs. I've designed pirate ships. I've designed lots of splash pads for children's fun parks, all through that one client through Craigslist. So don't underestimate some of those message boards if you've got them locally. If you've got, I would definitely, especially in this age where, you know, you've got AI coming into play, and you've got marketplaces like, what's the big one? It's not Indeed, it's the other one. I forget what that one is. Anyway, you're competing with a lot of people globally, and my answer to that is to focus local and, you know, kind of lean on maybe some older tactics if you can, like going around to your local small businesses, moms and pops that, you know, may not necessarily have an artist in the family that they can use to redesign their menu, or, you know, just a lot of marketing is letting people know that you're available, letting people know what you can do, and not throwing the kitchen sink at them. Be very specific and be focused on the work that you want to do, because then people will be able to connect you. Say you only want to do t-shirt designs, talk only about that and tell them only about that. Because if you say, I can do t-shirt designs, but I can also do websites, oh, I can also do business cards, and I can also do this, and I can also do that, a decision paralysis. They won't know what to connect you with. But if they know, hey, this is the t-shirt guy, my cousin needs a t-shirt, let me give you his card, let me give you his number, let me give you his Instagram, they'll be able to easily connect you. So first of all, figure out what you want to do and what you want to do a lot of, because if you're doing something you hate and a lot of it, you're going to burn out. But yeah, definitely try local. Choose your niche. Yes, always try and, oh gosh, I can't see. Oh, my eyes are just horrible today. This is me trying to read chat. I am from India, and people who don't respect artists or pay them what they're worth. Oh dear. Well, I mean, yeah, and so you're kind of forced to go globally. I mean, that is, what would a good answer to that be? I mean, because if you're sitting in the middle of a market where people are just, you can't say, well, I mean, I guess what you can do is kind of, again, I would just say niche down and become an expert in an area where, you know, the person fresh out of design school or, you know, whatever, that had just picked up Photoshop or whatever a couple days ago and is using the generation tools, or they can't really claim your skill set yet or undercut you for pricing. Because that, when I was doing a lot of graphic design, I felt that most notably, that, you know, certain clients were just looking at price, and certain clients are looking at more than price. They're looking for experience. They're looking to get a better solution than what they got before. I had one actually that came to me for book design that was really frustrated with the designer that they had booked from an online marketplace. And the main frustration there was that they could not communicate with them face to face. It was, and they needed to. That client needed to communicate what they wanted, what their needs were, what their design brief was. It didn't really come through in a printed form, if that makes sense. It was more of a, you need to talk to them and kind of get the vibe they're going for, what they need to do, a little bit more of their story. And if you put all of that in a Word document, no one's going to read that. So that was one client I had gotten that actually was very disenchanted with online marketplaces, and again wanted to go local. So I would try and differentiate yourself that way, and pick something that you can excel at, that people will know you for and come to you for, because you can do this thing that not everybody else can. You know, in the age of, you know, generate this on Adobe stuff, you know, people are generating logos that, you know, it's the new age of anybody can be a graphic designer with Canva, and they can call themselves a graphic designer because they have these tools that automate a lot of things that you used to have to learn and develop skills for. So pick something that you can do that can't be quickly replaced by technology that is advancing at a rapid rate, and also these hyper availability of potentially lower skilled and cheaper options out there. And you can also try and market yourself differently. You know, don't market yourself to the people that are going to just pay attention to price and say, okay, I want to pay $25 for a logo. I don't care if you have 10 years of experience and you can do something great. I'm looking at price. Don't market to those people. Market to the people who are paying attention to experience, that want something that is well thought out and developed and has that personal human touch. I feel like that is something that will, it's already starting to be, I feel, more prevalent, especially again with AI, people saying this is human made, this is me, I'm not a machine, I'm actually putting thought into this. I'm not just putting in a prompt and saying, make something for me. I'm informing this design with your input as well as all of my experience and the reservoir of ideas and experience that I have. So you can market that way and sell your skills, I think, probably to a higher level of client than what is going for just what's ready now and cheap. I hope that helps. I'm out of stuff. I need to pop a new can. And this has no caffeine. And I also need to put more eye drops in. I can't see chat. I think my eyes are definitely going to come out afterwards. I'm just going to have to... I'm just going to have to rely on glasses today, I guess. All right, one tree done. We need to do more trees, though. Should I keep all the trees grouped? I need to draw some leaves on this tree. I kind of like that one. I think I'll erase your little elbow here, Mr. Branch. Oh, really? Oh, gosh, I'm already a little bit low on the point, so I feel like this needs a little bit of a, aha, that's what this, there we go, that's what I took. Go ahead and get rid of that. Ooh, that could be neat if I do like some roots coming in here to the water and just being like super knobby, like a fern gully moment here. I feel like you need something over here, my friend. You need to come like this way. Just doing rough circles here where I want this stuff to go. Ariana, welcome! Long time no see indeed. Welcome to the stream. Good to see you again. How has life been treating you? Indeed. I was off for a little bit. I came back from the con and I was just like, ugh. Yeah. Thursday was not that good of a day, so I just decided to take it off. Look at this knobby boy. Hold on a second. Look at you coming out here with a big old branch. You're kind of doing a pose like that. A sassy tree. I like this sassy tree. He needs a bass. He needs like a... He's giving a little hip action here. One of these days, okay. I hope so too. Life has been a bit rough. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm making it through day by day. I'm glad you are. I'm glad you're making it through. Now I'm thinking of the jitterbug trees that got cut from the Wizard of Oz. I was so scared of those trees. I mean, they were so mean, and they start throwing apples, and it's, yeah. I did not like those trees. Unless I'm thinking, am I thinking of the trees in Babes in Toyland? No. Because there were trees in Babes in Toyland too, but I'm trying to remember if they were mean or not. I seem to think that those were nice trees, and I believe they led the characters to the toy maker. I have not seen Babes in Toyland in ages. Ah, yes, the Oz trees, yeah, they threw apples. They were mean. They were mean. Babe's trees took them to the toy maker. Seems scary but nice. That's the way it usually works. Seems scary but usually nice. Seems scary but actually quite nice. I just love the song that, God, what was it? Where they're telling Annette Bening that Tom sank into the sea, and they had the hole that they kept on sinking down into, and the water kept on getting deeper. And I also didn't think it was fair how little credit she gave herself for balancing the books. I always thought that was, she can do it. Don't get overwhelmed. Annette Funicello, sorry. What do I do with this little guy now? I really do love the water going on here. I'm gonna have fun with that one, I'm sure. I don't want to keep his little face. Anybody gonna know? Anybody really see him? Maybe I'll see him to see if anybody notices the little face. I could probably blend him in. I don't know. That's all I see now is the little face. I don't need much of it because this tree is coming over the top of him. I don't really need it. It's more of a peekaboo. Little deal here. I remind myself. I think what I'll do, instead of extending these trees super high above where they are now, I'm just gonna, when I do this for an HD wallpaper, I'll just extend the bottom. I'll just put more water here. Besides, you need room there for the icons anyway. have that stupid sank into the sea song in my head. Oh, we tried to save him, we sank into the sea. I've watched that show in forever. Break out my DVD soon. Yes. He's doing this. Oh. Now I can't erase the face. I've just got to try and... make him a little bit less obvious that I drew a face on a tree. I'm glad you guys like the tree. I kind of like he's doing a little hip thing too, so he's a sassy tree. This tree's kind of bitter because he's just not, I don't know. Y'all are getting too sassy over there. Coloring of this will be still, I'm not ready to start drawing autumn yet, even though everywhere. I mean, I went into Costco and they had Christmas stuff out. What? There should be a law against that. Not before I get my fill of fall and Halloween, please. You know better than that. But the problem is, if you don't buy this stuff now, all the cool stuff is going to be gone. Alright, so I've got my background with my water here, and I'm going to do probably no line art on these, but I'll have like some silhouetted trees back here and more forest. I'm going to kind of build it up in layers, but I won't line art it because I want to have that sense of depth, and I'll probably do some sort of misty business over here, like a gradient with a lighter color coming up to show the water is kind of misting and floating down through this area. And I kind of need to jump back over here and extend this a little bit, because I do want to have that. But then behind it is going to be just silhouettes, tree trunks, and kind of the forest receding back into the distance. And I think since I've already drawn my trees here, I can erase some of this stuff. think I'm going to leave some of that there so I can remember this is where the water's coming and it needs to kind of ripple and fold down as it's coming down this way. And guess what? I have it saved since I opened this file, so a long overdue save. And there's my sketch. So this, funny enough, let's see if I can open this file. So this is $35.97. I actually came up with this idea almost 500 days ago, but it was slightly different. Because this is an idea that's been sitting on my desktop forever, with the trees in the background, the floofs looking. I may still do this one, because it is different. They're kind of jumping rocks, and it's a little bit more... It could be one in a series, actually. Kind of they're still in this area, but it's a similar idea, similar vibe here. But I've got different action down below. It only took me 500 days to draw it. I decided I wanted to start learning how to use Blender. It's been an... Oh, wow. Yes, I tried to do that too. I did the donut. Oh God, what's his name? Andrew something? He has all of these Blender Guru. Does that sound familiar? He has like hours of Blender beginner tutorials, and you like start out by making a donut, and I tried that and I got so frustrated because I could not understand moving the camera and how to get oriented in that 3D space and how to control it. And that was the source of so much frustration, and I quit before I got really used to it. I believe I made a donut, or at least the donut base. But yeah, good luck to you. I watched the infamous donut tutorial. I got video 10 before I decided to watch it. Okay, same story. Same donut, same frustration. Yeah, I think for me, I would just have to dive in and just submerge myself in the program and because usually if I pick up a new program, it takes working with it for a couple of projects for me to really get and understand the interface, the tools and stuff. Like Procreate, I was kind of just treading water and not really comfortable in that program for the longest time, and then I decided the turning point for me was forcing myself to use it over Christmas break one year. I didn't take my usual sketch, well, I did as a backup just in case I got so frustrated, but I said to myself, okay, you're going to learn this program and you're going to sketch and Procreate every night while you're, Christmas vacation. And it was over that time period that I created a brush that mimics this blob brush in Illustrator pretty closely. And that's when I started really feeling comfortable in the program and getting excited with it. But I had to force myself to use it for like a period of days back to back. So I was, kind of immersed in using the tools and really figuring out where things were. I get the feeling I could pick up Blender I could get more comfortable in Blender if I did that in there too. Yeah, that camera was so frustrating. My donut would sink through the floor and, oh God. For me, I'm the type to just start. I learned something really useful things in the 10 videos from the donut tutorial, so I just went in and started working. That's awesome! Well, I wish you luck. I wish you tremendous amounts of luck. You can do so many cool things. I mean, aren't there some pretty sizable full-length animated features that were done mostly in Blender? I feel like I've heard that story somewhere. Or that testimony, rather. There are a lot of other 3D programs that have more intuitive interface than Blender, which you learn. One, they're all very similar, but Blender being free is a great choice. Yeah, totally. And another thing that I'm intrigued by, the node-based stuff, like you're connected, almost like a mind map, that thing. I'm intrigued by that, and I feel like I understand that better than manipulating things in the 3D space. Not quite sure why, but as I recall, you kind of had to hook up. It was like hooking up different textures and stuff in that node-based system, and I felt cool with that, but not so much with the darn guts of the program. I've been slow to try Blender, but I've gotten excited again since it may be coming to the iPad. Ooh, very nice. That makes, makes it a little bit easier if you can just take it anywhere and, go to something like a cafe and just get a nice coffee or tea or whatever and start messing around with the program. I feel like I should put a few more rocks. I feel like this needs to... I did good with this stuff over here, but we need some like little... Of course, we'll draw more of these guys in here. Oh no, I didn't realize I drew eyebrows. Okay. I'll keep them. That's a little bit too much. I'll keep them up there. And you can see them if you see them. If you know, you know. That. He's a happy tree. He would never throw apples at you. There a little bit. Hips don't lie. Indeed. Just a little building. A little bit of turns and shadows as he's moving around here in the forest. And at which point I've got to figure out where my light's coming from. So I'm already, I think, getting myself into a little lighting situation. I'm sure I want to do one. Oops. Let's save, because I don't know what I just did. I'm sure it was something probably not good. Alright, I think I'll probably end the stream here. I've gotten a good amount. Whoops. Hello. Whoops. There we go. A good amount of work done on this. That'll be fun to color tonight. And I'll post the full version. Unfortunately, gosh, I think Instagram crops down horribly. So I think Instagram in my regular feed is only going to see about that much. But I'll definitely post the full thing in stories. So our happy tree will get his time in the sun. It'll be a little surprise. Yeah, I've got to figure out. I want to make the lighting and everything really enchanting. I want to be deliberate with the palette I pick. Because it's not I could go wild if I did fall, but I'm not ready to color this for fall. I just want it to be kind of a summer, end of summer type deal. So greens, blues, maybe some warmer yellows. I want to try and make it just really cozy. Nice little moment. I gotta think about that. But yeah, I think I'll go ahead and end the stream here. And let's do one more save. And let's go over to ending the stream. Thank you so much for joining me today. It was so good to see all of you again. Sharon, Ariana, Catherine, all my lurkers, Dee, if you're still in here, Clint, I know we have a couple of new people in here as well. If you're still in here, thank you so much for joining me. Aman, and I know I had Christina, let's see, who else is in here? Richie, if you're still in chat, thank you so much for joining. I will be back on Thursday with comics. I've got to do some writing because I'm frightfully low on webcomic content, so hopefully I can put aside some time today or Wednesday to do a little bit of that, and I'll have a fresh good set for Thursday. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a great rest of your Tuesday, and I'll see you next time.